try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been bigger.
Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your weekdaily morning show where we bring you the latest and everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about the rally that occurred on Bitcoin over the last 48 hours. As you know, Bitcoin managed to bounce at the levels of support that we were starting to be concerned would break. And instead of falling below those levels, Bitcoin actually bounced and rallied above $30,000, if only briefly, over the last 12 hours or so. And in today's episode of Coffee and Crypto Live, we're going to do exactly what we do every single day. We're going to apply it to this market because that's the way that we like to do things here. We're going to go straight through the 3 Ps. We're going to analyze exactly what's happening in the cryptocurrency market, and we are going to have an understanding of where Bitcoin has been, where Bitcoin is, and where Bitcoin is going to go over the next 24 to 72 hours. I'm really excited to bring you today's show because I think there's going to be some really good trade setups that we can talk about today. We're going to talk about how some of the principles of trading and investing that we have discussed so much here on the channel would have helped you to have made a profitable trade and entry on this market over the last 48 hours. And I'm also going to show you how you can do that over the next 7 days because I think there will probably be more entries and more trades that you can take. And of course, we'll talk a little bit about whether right now is the time to be investing in the dominant crypto, that of course being Bitcoin. Very excited to bring you today's episode. I do apologize for not being here yesterday. We're going to work very hard to get back on our content schedule today. There is supposed to be a Climate of Crypto video going out today. I've got 2 videos to make after this stream. And the reason that I wasn't here yesterday, in case you didn't see the community post, is I woke up and it took me about 3 minutes to just absolutely lose my stomach. Obviously, there wasn't much there. I just woken up, but it was rough. It was really bad. I couldn't drive. I felt absolutely terrible. We must have gotten some kind of 24-hour bug or something because I was really sick in the morning. About 6 hours later, my wife got really sick, so she was taking care of me in the morning. I started feeling better in the afternoon, so I took care of her. She's home, not feeling very well right now, so you guys can be praying for Sarah. I definitely am, of course, but do apologize for not being here yesterday. But I'll tell you what, taking a nap felt good. That helps so much. I want to encourage you guys to really think a lot about one of those principles that millionaires master. I made a video a while back called 14 Principles Millionaires Master. One of those principles is a core value of our company. All 14 of them are actually the core values of our company. One of them is sustainability. And sustainability is basically the idea of do as much as you can that you can do forever. That's how I define it. So if you can work 50 hours a week, if you can work 40 hours a week, and you can do that for 40 years or 30 years, 20 years, whatever forever is for you. You might want to retire in 15 years. So for, let's say 15 years, whatever the long game, the long picture is, if you can do that sustainably every single day, week, whatever the repeated cycle is, do that much and scale back just a little bit so you make sure you're always able to hit that target. For me, when I'm practicing on running or practicing on lifting, I like to set myself a floor. I'm like, if I don't feel good today, I'm at least going to try and get this. So for example, when I'm running on a treadmill, I like to run at least 6.8 miles an hour for half a mile. Right? I can do that even if I'm sick with a cold, right? So if I'm able to do more than that, then great. But that's my sustainable speed. That's my sustainable distance if I'm trying to do less than 10 minutes of cardio at the beginning of a workout. For like bench press, I know that I can do 135 for 5 to 7 on a bad day, right? That's my sustainable level. For me, I know I can make 5 streams of Coffee and Crypto every single week, so long as I don't get sick, and I can do that forever. So you find what is sustainable, and then you scale back, and you realize sometimes, all right, for me to be able to be sustainable for the next 2 weeks, I need to do something different today. So I was very tempted to just come into work anyway, even though I was I tell you what, I was out of it yesterday morning. And my wife was like, Jeb, you talk a lot about sustainability. We have sick days for a reason. You should probably stay home, and you should probably rest. And I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I did because I would probably still be extremely sick today. And yesterday's stream probably wouldn't have been that good. And to be honest with you, I probably would have been forced to be out today. So I just encourage you guys to think about sustainability. If you have something going on with your health, attack that with everything you have because you've got to be able to get back in control of your body so that you're able to perform the way that you need to. And I'm very glad that I rested because I was able to be there for my family, especially when Sarah started getting more sick. And I'm able to be here today because I took care of myself and I kind of a fire came up. Hey, I'm sick. Got myself healthy. Now we're back. Should be good for the rest of the week. I still have a cold, so if you hear me sniffle a little bit, I do apologize. I'll try to mute myself. I don't want to be gross, but we're trying to be as sustainable as we can here. I can stream with a cold. I definitely was having a hard time yesterday morning. Anyway, Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. Let's go ahead and read some chat. RC Moore is in chat, said, hola, ¿cómo está? Mike Lowry is in chat, said, good morning, happy hashtag FinSoft Wednesday. Every day is a FinSoft day here on the Crypto Jeb YouTube channel. BTC Crypto Alert said, morning all. Cryptoverse said, good morning. Philly Skills 1428 said, morning, Jeb. How's it going, brother? It's going good. Thank you so much. Richard Harrington said, hey, Jeb. What's up, Richard Harrington? By the way, isn't it funny that the market always decides to move on the day that I'm not here? Like, I didn't look at the market yesterday because I was so focused on my health. I slept half the day. I mean, not half the day, for like 2 or 3 hours. I was just completely out of it. Didn't look at the market yesterday. But now I look in here. I look here today. Like, go figure. The market decides to move the day that I'm not here. Anyway, we've also got Grand Roofing Incorporated said, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you as well. Death Rod Customs said morning. Joe Bollier said, good morning, Jeb. Good to see you. Sean O'Brien, Robert Kehoe said, right now. Daniel J said, win-win. I said, right now. Seth is in chat. Crypto Surge said, good morning, Jeb. I hope you're feeling better. Feeling a good bit better. Not 100%, but I'm definitely feeling better. Sam XBTC said, good morning, Jeb. Glad you're better. Stephen Atwell said, sup, Jeb. God bless you all. By the way, what are you guys thinking about those FinSoft Friday videos? Let me just ask, have you watched a FinSoft Friday episode yet? If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll show you really quickly, and then we'll jump straight on over here to CoinMarketCap and get into our analysis for today, because we've got a lot to cover. But I just want to ask if you guys have watched any of these videos. I put a lot of work into these, and I really believe they're going to bring you a ton of value. So far, there's 2 of them. 14 Truths Millionaires Master, and then How 2 Principles Make All Millionaires Rich. These are hashtag FinSoft Friday videos, and I think they are some of the best videos on the entire channel. So tell me in the chat, have you managed to watch them yet? I would love to hear if you have been able to watch them, and of course, I would love to hear what you think about them as well. Let's go ahead and jump on here over to CoinMarketCap. As you can see, Bitcoin is trading just shy of $30,000. It's down 0.5% over the last hour. It is up 1.65% over the last 24 hours, and it's up 1.87% over the last 7 days. Currently sitting at a $581 billion market capitalization. And we look on our chart, then we'll see that Bitcoin has gone through a meteoric rally ever since about noon Monday. About a day after that happened, Bitcoin went on and rallied 5.31% in the span of just 28 hours, all the way up to $30,168. Around 4 p.m. yesterday, Bitcoin was trading well over $30,000. I'm very excited about this for reasons that we'll talk about in a second, but first, let's go back to CoinMarketCap. You can see that while Ethereum is down slightly over the last hour, it is up 1.31% in the last 24 hours, so it's following Bitcoin. It's also up 0.7% in the last 7 days. Notice, this is predominantly a movement on Bitcoin. And that shows up in the dominance as well. If we scroll down here on the dominance, we will be able to see that Bitcoin has actually managed to rally somewhat on dominance relatively recently. Ever since the end of last month, when Bitcoin was at 48.12% in market dominance, it's rallied all the way up to nearly 49%. We're sitting at 48.99% right now, almost 49%. So what this tells us is that Bitcoin is performing very, very well in opposition to the altcoins. A couple of reasons for that I believe are relevant. First and foremost, if we go to our chart and we look at the SPY for the most part over the last couple of months has been performing exceptionally well. It's not performing great right now. Of course, it's down slightly, but in general, the trend is working out very, very well. And in fact, even if you look over at a mutual fund that I've been following. Let me just go ahead and see if I can find it here. It doesn't look like it wants to show up. AIX. I don't think it's going to show it on TradingView. Yeah, it's not going to show it on TradingView. Never mind. But basically, some of the large cap growth mutual funds that I watch are growing very aggressively as well, and a lot of them are mirroring the SPY very closely. They're just below the all-time high that was set at the very end of 2021, and with interest rates sitting where they are, and also with inflation coming down, theoretically, I think the next CPI print might be a little bit shocking to the market. We'll talk about that in time. But with all of those factors in mind, the stock market has been rallying aggressively over the last 3 months. I think that's been very good for Bitcoin because traditionally speaking, when the stock market does very well, Bitcoin does too. There's a positive correlation there. Part of that is because Bitcoin in many ways acts a little bit like a tech stock. Tech stocks follow the market. When you say the market, typically you're talking about the S&P 500. The Bitcoin market follows the market, S&P 500, quite closely because it is a big enough project. It's a big enough, if you want to call it a stock, you could. It's not a stock, but it's a big enough asset that it is seen as kind of being part of the in crowd. The stock market people, the TradFi people, are starting to kind of say, all right, Bitcoin's part of our club, right? You know, they're the mainstream. They're the, oh, all right, it's kind of part of mainstream. We don't know, we don't main in Wall Street. We don't know if we believe in all that other stuff, but we kind of believe in Bitcoin. I'm not saying that that's where I stand. I'm just saying that that's where a lot of the people in TradFi are standing. They're saying, okay, Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum, maybe a little bit of XRP, maybe just a little bit of XRP because they work with the banks. You know, they're saying, all right, this traditional system, you can be a part of it. The altcoins, not so much. And so there is a level of trust that Bitcoin has been able to build in that market. So when the stock market rallies, many of the people in the stock market say, okay, the market is doing well. So what we're going to do is we're going to invest in more risk on assets. And so they look around and they say, okay, we're going to look at 99 stocks, mutual funds, bonds, ETFs, whatever you might want to look at. And then we're going to also look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, maybe a little bit of XRP. And so you've got kind of this traditional lean towards those three big dogs in the cryptocurrency market right now. Recently, it did include XRP because of that SEC case being more or less won for XRP and Ripple. And so when we see Bitcoin has been rallying quite a lot and is running away with market dominance, part of the reason for that is because the stock market is rallying and Bitcoin is kind of starting to be adopted into the in crowd of the stock market. And so there's people in the cryptocurrency space that are going to hear that and they're going to shake their head in anger and they're going to say, "Oh, that's disgusting. You can never be part of the stock market. You can never be part of the traditional financial system. It's absolutely disgusting." We can't be a part of that. We have to absolutely just vehemently oppose this movement of Bitcoin being with the traditional markets. And I would say bah humbug to that. I think that's nonsense. You know, it's a little bit like a Christian. I'm a Christian saying, I don't want to work with unbelievers. How could I possibly work with unbelievers? They don't agree with me. Well, wait a minute. If what I believe is true, and I'm very certain that it is, if what I believe is true, and if what I believe can help other people, I believe what I believe can help people. And I've watched it help hundreds of thousands of people on this channel. Then I'm not going to say I want nothing to do with somebody who disagrees with me. That's where the majority of this disunity in this country and in this world comes from, is people saying, I want nothing to do with somebody that disagrees with me. It's tribalism. It's territoriality. It's factionalism. It's disunity at its core. A core value of ours is unity. That's not to say you can be unified with sin. I can't be unified with somebody who's doing something atrocious. I can't be unified with horrible things I can't even speak on YouTube. But I can at least try and share my ideas with somebody. And if things are just basically a little bit peaceful, then I can say, look, this is what I believe. That's what you believe. Maybe I can learn something from you. Maybe you can learn something from me. It does not have to be this stock market, traditional market versus Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market. It can be, we both learn from each other. There's things that the crypto market can learn from the traditional market, and there's things that the traditional markets can absolutely learn from cryptocurrency. I believe financial sovereignty is a big part of it, because financial sovereignty really started showing up in crypto. Because in crypto, that's where you have control over your finances. You've got less control over your finances when they're in a bank. I'm not totally anti-bank. Banks are not going anywhere. Like them or hate them, banks aren't going anywhere. I'm just going to say it. There are alternatives. Bitcoin's an alternative, but the banking system is not just going to fizzle out and die. So we need to be able to not play both sides of the fence. I'm not saying be undecisive, but I'm saying stand firm for what we believe. And if anybody disagrees with us, that doesn't mean we attack them. We just share and say, hey, look, this is what I believe. Take it back to thought, have a reasonable discourse with yourself and see what it is that maybe you can learn from us and see maybe what we can learn from you. And so Bitcoin being kind of brought into the fold of the traditional space, I don't think is a bad thing. And I think it's kind of toxic to say that it is. What I will say is that when the Bitcoin market is rallying and the stock market are rallying, the Bitcoin market normally rallies farther. So an example, and then we're going to talk about the shorter term time frames here. The stock market rallied from the beginning of the year about 20%. It's a pretty good rally for the stock market. If you've got a Roth IRA and you're investing in it, you're up 20%, you're happy, right? You got $10,000 in a Roth IRA, now you're $12,000. That's a pretty good return for 6 months in the traditional market. That is typically a 2-year return for the S&P in 6 months. That's a pretty solid return if you were investing sometime over the last 12 months. Now, at the same time on Bitcoin, while the stock market was going through its turnaround, Bitcoin rallied 92%. So this is where Bitcoin has a higher beta. If you don't know what beta is basically a calculation of risk. It has to do with volatility and how much a market ranges. Has a higher beta, has a higher risk, but it also has a higher reward. So it's a good idea, in my opinion, to have some Bitcoin in a well-diversified portfolio. Many people nowadays recommend 3 to 5%. I would recommend slightly more than that if you're starting out in a cryptocurrency, background. You have a lot more research and understanding on crypto than you do on the stocks. Then have more of your portfolio in Bitcoin. But keep in mind that's a good idea to have some long-term growth very low risk properties and assets in there as well. So my point, with Bitcoin going through this rally recently and seeing its market dominance increase, that means that it is rallying alongside the traditional market. And the reason that that's so important is because Bitcoin is currently going through this transition of, oh my gosh, the world is falling. There's 9.6% inflation, headline inflation June of last year. There is massive amounts of just chaos and havoc going on with the interest rates going up. There's a huge amount of quantitative easing going on. Now they're rolling off the quantitative easing. They're going through quantitative tightening. Debt's being hard to come by, and obviously we know it's a good idea not to grow on debt, but many people do. The economy runs around it. 1920s never really ended, if you know what I'm saying. But there was just this turmoil in the market, and so people said, let's go look for something else. Let's go look at Bitcoin. And so we had a lot of money flowing to Bitcoin during 2022 as a result of that. Right now, things are kind of calming down. We're kind of, quote unquote, going back to normal. It's a new normal, but we're going back to some form of normal. And so in that time, where you're in recovery mode, let's say you're in 1947 and you live in France, right? You're not exactly going out and experimenting with the newest technology. You wait until the 60s and then boom, France is experimenting with TGV. They're doing all kinds of things. You look at Britain, boom, they're doing all kinds of experimentation. 90s for Germany after the curtain fell and they were reunified, boom, there's some stuff going on there. A couple of years after conflict, after turmoil, you're just focused on surviving and getting used to normal. And that's what the stock market's doing right now. But it's starting to get back to that normal growth. I don't think it'll be a year before the stock market breaches all-time high again. So if you're not invested in stocks, if you don't have a Roth IRA, if you don't have a 401k, now's the time to do it. Now's the time because there are great opportunities. This is not exactly investing in 2009, 2010, but it's kind of akin to that. I don't think you're going to see those kind of returns, but it's a kind of that moment in history, maybe 30 to 50% of that. But the transition is happening where the sky is falling, and so people are looking for alternatives. They look for Bitcoin. Now we're going through that transition of everything's kind of normal, so we don't want to breach outside of what's safe. The world's starting to feel that stocks are safe again, so they are trying to hold on tight to that. But now, stock market's rallying, flowers kind of opening up, and okay, well, now we're in prosperity. Now it's the 60s in the United States, the middle of the Cold War. There's a space race going on. The United States was rebuilding culturally. Europe was rebuilding in the 1950s. 1960s come around. Everybody's excited about the future. Everybody's excited about the next big thing. That's where Bitcoin comes in. World starts to go, quote unquote, back to normal next 12 to 18 months. People start saying, wait a minute. Whoa, it's the 21st century. We've got phones you don't have to flip open. We've got touch screens. What's next? Bitcoin. And so people are going to say, all right, I want to invest in something new. And so they're going to look to Bitcoin. So the point in that is to say that Bitcoin having a market dominance rallying has a lot to do with the stock market, in my opinion. It also has a lot to do with the fact that the altcoins have not really begun their cycle yet. Eventually, Bitcoin will be at 60% market dominance, 65% market dominance. Then the altcoins will have that runaway. But first, you've got to get the retail to start thinking again, whoa, Bitcoin's the next big thing. Let's invest in that. And then after you have enough people comfortable with, wow, Bitcoin's the next big thing. They've been here for 6 months, made a little bit of money, they're happy. Then you have that cycle of, whoa, these altcoins are the next big thing. This is awesome. And then you see Bitcoin's market dominance go down because the retail moves first into Bitcoin. Then from Bitcoin, they move into the altcoins. You have your Bitcoin cycle first, then you have your altcoin cycle second. That's how bull markets happen. Boom, capiche. All right, cool. Let's keep going. Bitcoin right now is trading at $29,840. We rallied to over $30,000 last night. And there's a couple of takeaways here that I want to talk about. First and foremost, if you saw our video on, this is so funny. I want to refer to a comment on this video. If you saw our video on Monday, we talked about how there was a decent chance that Bitcoin was going to break below its uptrend and the level of support at 28,545. The trend had not been broken yet. At this point, excuse me, I don't believe the trend has necessarily been broken. The downtrend has necessarily been broken yet, but we're getting pretty close to confirming that it has, right? We're getting pretty close to confirming that it has. Up until about 48 hours ago, we had every reason to believe that Bitcoin's going to keep going down. You know, one of the things when you're following these principles, sometimes you're going to realize, okay, you're wrong about a day later. That's what it is. You know, you prepare for both scenarios. And so what we talked about in that video was what happens if Bitcoin drops below this uptrending level, this uptrending trend line. By the way, these trades are still relevant. Bitcoin decides to fall down here, that's fine. But it's so funny because let me just see if I can find the comment. I won't show it because I don't want to embarrass anybody. I don't want to just like bring somebody before the court because they had a certain comment. But let's see if I can find this. Somebody said, yeah, so if he's wrong, he gets wrecked and drags his followers with him. And I said, stop losses make getting wrecked a non-issue. I'm not going to say who it is. I don't want to bring anybody out like before the court or before the judge or anything or make fun of anybody. But They said, if this is wrong, then the followers get wrecked. You know what's funny? If you're following the principles of trading and you're using stop losses, it doesn't matter if the prediction is right. I'm not trying to say that to cover my tail. Yeah, we gave it a 60% correction, then the market would drop, because that's what our principles teach us. That's the best we can do, guys. We don't have a crystal ball. That means there's a 40% chance that the market could rally. And by the way, we had a plan for that, which I will show you in a second. That was profitable if you follow the principles. Okay, so whenever you're entering a trade, it's very important that you have a couple of principles backing you up to stop you from getting wrecked. You know, many people talk about this idea of, oh, if you go into a short and the market goes up, you're going to get wrecked. Or if you go into a long and the market goes down, you're going to get wrecked. No. That's not the way it works. Let me just show you what we talked about in that video. And then we'll talk today about, hey, if it keeps going up, then great. And we will set up both of our trades because we want to hedge our bets and make a trade in both directions. This is the trade that we had set up. As you can see, the trades that we set up in that video that went out on Monday did not actually get entered. So you didn't get wrecked by these trades because the entry was down here at 28,338. We didn't enter up here because following our principles of trading, we don't enter until we've already breached below the floor. The floor is at 28,545. So it doesn't matter. The trades didn't even get entered. Who cares, right? On top of that, if you look over here, we talked about on Monday's live stream on Coffee and Crypto, if the market goes up, then you're going to want to have a couple of these trades in play. These are the two trades that we drew on Monday. You can see even over here, the leftmost of them sits here at 10 a.m. on Monday because that's when the market was. We drew these trades as our contingency plan in case the market did go to the upside. And you can see, for a time there, it did not look like the market was going to go up, right? We actually triggered a short trade and we would have made profit on it. Moving forward here, we can see that these trades were actually relatively useful. Now, we have a couple of principles that we use when we're setting up trades. First and foremost, stop losses. They're very, very important. There's two kinds of stop losses. Number one, there's the kind of stop loss that you prepare for in your planning, and we'll talk about the plan for the next stage of Bitcoin's movement over the next day to 3 days here in a moment. But you have your primary stop losses, which are part of your plan, then you have your trailing stop losses. If you entered here on this long trade that we set up on Monday at 29,173, you would have made 0.22%. I have a policy, a principle that I like to share with you guys that use either a 0.1% trailing stop loss or 10% of the expected, profit. Oftentimes, it's a better idea to use the smaller number. So if you use the smaller number here, that'd be a 0.04% trailing stop loss. So that means this trade would have made you 0.24, then it would have dropped by 0.4%, and you would have made 0.2% the first time it triggered. The second time it triggered, you would have rallied all the way up here, 0.18%, dropped by 0.4%, and you would have made 0.14%. So we're already at 0.34% profit. If you use the 0.10, that's okay. I would recommend using the smaller of the two take profits, but even still, you would have made money both times. The third time that we triggered this trade, because we fell below, we're just falling below and going above, a third trade entry. You rally all the way up here to the top, you hit the exit price at 29,281, and then you make 0.4%. So we have 0.34%, now we have 0.4%, so now we have a 0.74% profit. Now we're going to break straight through this again, and on this one trade, we're going to trade this market again, another 0.4%. So now we're looking at 1.14% in profit just from this one trade because we triggered it 4 times. Then we had this other trade above us. It's going to shoot straight through it twice. We're going to rally all the way up here. We're going to get 0.63%. So we're at 0.14%. Let's see if I can keep my math going in my head. We were at 1.14%. Now we're at 0.63% profit. Now we're sitting at 14 plus 64 is 77. So now we're at 1.77% profit. Now you're going to fall all the way back down here to the entry price at 29,320. And then you could say, all right, I'm probably going to enter. You enter again, 0.5% profit. I'm not even going to try and keep up with the numbers at this point. You keep going, you're over 2% profit. And then if you were following the principles of trading, you would know that you have a ceiling somewhere right around here between 29.5 and 29.6. So you'd enter another trade setup following the principles of trading. I need to make a course on this and teach you guys. Drop a 1 in chat if you'd like to see a full-on course teaching these principles, because as you can see, they work very well. Our next level of resistance is at 30K. I hope you can see that. Next level of resistance is at 30K. We would probably put an entry price somewhere right around here, run the market forward, you get all the way up there, and then boom, that's 1.37%. So maybe it would have been helpful to show that, and I think I will keep that in mind for videos where I'm saying that the market will go down or the market will go up. Maybe I should make it so I always show the contingencies, but following the same principles of technical analysis that we taught 4 hours before that video went out, and I understand that some people see videos and don't see the stream, and I'm not trying to defend myself. I just want you guys to know how to apply this in your own trading. There's no possible reason that you should have gotten wrecked following that video. What you should have done, and I probably should do a better job of making sure I stress this. I try and stress it every time I can. Probably didn't do it a well enough job there. I'll admit that. But what I will say is that if you follow the principles of trading, you should never be getting wrecked more than like 0.1%. You're going to hit a stop loss sometimes. Every single trade is not going to be profitable. That's just not realistic. It's not realistic. Have realistic goals. You've heard of SMART goals: specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and timely. Have realistic goals. Not a realistic goal for every single trade to end in profit. It is a realistic goal to have 60, 70, 80% of them end in profit. And so if you follow the principles of technical analysis, as you can see, in a day and a half, you would have made like 3%. It's easy money. You just rinse and repeat the same exact principles over and over and over again. And so that's why I love them. That's why I love the 3 Ps. That's why I love the principles that we have for trading. It's very, very easy. It's very, very easy to do. And so that's what I think. But I will make sure to include the hedge in those future videos, because I think that probably would have helped him. And by the way, I just want to say again, I think I said this earlier, I want to say it again, and part of the reason I didn't share the person that said this is because I think that this is not somebody who's saying this out of like hatefulness or mean spirit, and even if they were, that's fine. It rolls off me like water off a duck's back. I don't care. But what I will say is that if you don't understand the principles of trading, saying, oh, the market could go down and then it goes up, it could get you wrecked if you're not using your stop losses. Absolutely, guys. Never, ever, ever forget the importance of stop losses. They're so important. You've got to use them. And if you don't, you will regret it. It is that simple. You've got to use stop losses. You've got to use them with a strategy. And so that's something that I want to be able to teach you guys throughout the course of these videos. You never, ever, ever need to lose money on a trade more than a couple of tenths of a percent because you're using those stop losses. Now, let's talk about this rally that Bitcoin has undergone. I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited about being able to apply the principles of technical analysis on it. And I'm also very excited to be able to show you where I think we're going to go next. So let's run through the 3 Ps. The 3 Ps are as follows. They are perception, prediction, and planning. We first perceive the market, where it is, what it's doing, why it's doing. We kind of analyze the market. It's the technical analysis side of things. Then we predict. That is more of the technical analysis. That's kind of your technical analysis and trade setup mixed together. And then we look for the trades. It's this spectrum where you move from technical fundamental on-chain analysis through applying that into a trade setup, and you use it to build a trade plan. And so when you have that trade plan, then you're ready for whatever the market throws at you. Up, down, sideways, whatever happens, you're ready for it. And so to start with, our perception here is very simple. Bitcoin has been undergoing quite a large correction over the last, let's say, nearly a month. Ever since the 13th of July, which is the Thursday, we saw the XRP case settle. Bitcoin has been going under a large correction. That large correction has allowed for plenty of short trades, and it's also meant that we've had a lot of sideways trading. It's very reminiscent of what we saw in April, May, and early June on Bitcoin, where we were trading sideways, but every once in a while we'd have a big drop, and so Bitcoin just kind of laddered, stair-stepped its way down rather than just moonshotting up like we've seen. This is overall a bullish trend. Bitcoin just shoots straight through the ceiling, and then the bulls fight very, very hard. It's almost like if you have a gear, there's certain gears that you wind and they only go one direction. You wind it, it's almost like a transmission. Transmission kind of work like this. It winds a certain direction and it only goes forward or it only goes back, and then the teeth stop it from rewinding the other way. I'm not sure if that makes any sense, but it's a little bit like that. Bitcoin is able to just fly to the upside, but when it tries to go down, those bulls fight hard. And that is a hugely bullish sign for Bitcoin. That being said, we are still technically in a bearish trend on the 4-hourly chart and the daily chart in the longer run over the last month, And so this rally brings into question the idea of, okay, is this market actually starting to reverse? Are we actually starting to see a new uptrend form? And we want to be ready in case one comes. But the other thing that we want to keep in mind is that Bitcoin also has lower lows taking place right now. And so we need to be prepared for both of those realities. The reality is this: Bitcoin has set higher highs on candle bodies on the 4-hourly chart, but also has set lower lows on candle bodies on the down here on the 4-hourly chart as well. So there's kind of this megaphone pattern happening right now. This, I would say, is actually overall a bullish sign. And the reason for that is because our previous trends were nothing but downtrends. Now we're starting to at least see higher highs. We might still be seeing lower or equivalent lows, but we're seeing higher highs, and so that's a good sign. I'm not saying I'm fully in the camp of the bulls yet. I think I need to see Bitcoin confidently trading in the $30,000 region, which is not far away. But until then, I'm very much on the fence right now. Bitcoin is very close to proving me bullish. So I'm going to give it like a 51% chance of a drop. 49% chance of a rally. You might think, oh, Jeb, you're just kind of cutting the middle. And that's not very helpful. Well, here's the deal. The prediction is not what we walk away with. We have got to dispel of this myth that getting a prediction right makes you money. It doesn't. Let me just say that again. Let me just say that again for people in the back who don't want to hear it, right? Because there's so many of us that don't want to hear this. Getting the prediction right is not what makes the money. Period. Has nothing to do with whether you make profit on a trade. Now, if you're trying to do a 10-year investment in a rental property, then yeah, the prediction is pretty important. You've got to be able to predict whether the asset will be worth more in 10 years than now. If you're trying to make an investment, yeah, you need to have some kind of idea of whether or not that asset is going to be more valuable 10 years from now than today. I'm specifically talking about trading. In the realm of trading, the prediction is so very unimportant. Of the three Ps, it is the least important. When you're when you're investing in the stock market, in Bitcoin for 10 years, in real estate, it's very important because you need to understand whether the thing that you're buying is going to be worth more in the future than it is now, because that's what you're doing. You're buying and holding for a long time. You're not shorting for 10 years. Shorting is basically a trade. You don't short for 10 years. That's just not something that you do. You invest because generally speaking, if it's a healthy market, it's going to go up. So it's important to make a prediction that one, is going to go up, and two, how far it's going to go up. But if you're trading, the volatility doesn't really matter. So when we say it's 51% down, 49% up, the reason I say that is because Bitcoin, I have to say, is bearish. But based on my principles, I have to be on the camp of the bears because it has not proven me bullish yet. But I so badly want to be a bull right now. I'm never going to say 50-50. I'm going to say 51-49, and you might think that's a cop-out. But based on the principles, they lead me to that answer. That's the best I can do. Bitcoin has not proven me bullish yet, but it is so close. It's so close. I mean, we're like $150 away from a trading range that I would start to say, all right, we're in bullish territory. For me, that's above $30,000. So with that in mind, we need to be very careful to spend a lot of time on our long setup and on our short setup. And if you guys don't know how I do this, what I like to do is set up a bullish trade and a bearish trade. And whichever the market does, we're opportunists. We're not bulls, we're not bears. We're opportunists. We might agree with the bulls or the bears more in one season. And we might be on the side. Like, for example, I still have to be on the side of the bears because we've not seen a proven uptrend start. We've had a nice day over the last 24 to 48 hours, but we've not had a proven uptrend. But we're opportunists. We're going to take a long trade if we can get it. We're going to take a short trade if we can get it. That's how we profit. So how are we going to do that? Well, first and foremost, the first thing that interests me is how far above 30K these wicks rallied. You can see they rallied 0.64% above. Remember, we use a 0.1% trailing stop loss, so I'm going to set up a trade, and I actually don't mind if we get wicked out of it because the trailing stop loss is going to protect us. That's a piece of information I need. Now, the long trade here is going to be relatively simple. There's going to be two of them. I'm going to use a horizontal level, and I'm going to notice that these two wicks and candle bodies over here are our next major level of resistance. And I have a feeling if I bring up VRVP, that's going to be a level as well. Look at that. That's called chart vision right there. That is called chart vision and good memory. Okay. Not to pat myself on the back. I'm just saying sometimes when you've been in a market for 6 years and you've been looking at the exact same market almost every single day, you just kind of look at a level and you're like, I think this technical indicator is going to say this. I didn't know it was going to say that. But that's a level that's going to be important, and it shows up on VRVP. And part of the reason is because there's a lot of trading up here. Trading here. It's a ceiling here, floor there. That's going to be our next ceiling. Remember how we set up our trades. We look for this, if we're doing a long, we look for the ceilings above us. The ceiling above us right now, the first ceiling, is 30K. The one above that is 30,350. Just make it simple, call it 3350. $30,350, that is. The next ceiling above that, looking at this interval, a little bit hard to tell, but I'm going to put it right here. This is where the VRVP starts to drop off. You can see that. And it's also where we have lots of highs right over here. High right here on candle bodies. That's about 30,800. So these are our ceilings. Remember, that's the first thing we want to do when we're doing trade setups. We find our ceilings. Now, I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to set up the trades. Remember, we set up a trade the same way every time. Let me say that again. We set up the trades pretty much following the exact same principles, almost the same way every time. We don't have to get fancy with it. We rinse and repeat the exact same thing. If you were in the gym and you were doing squats differently every single day for a year, you're going to do it right one time and you're going to do it wrong probably about 99 times. There's one right way to do it, and there are 100,000 million wrong ways to do it. Am I right? For anybody who goes to the gym, are there 5 different ways to do bench press correctly? Now, you might be doing a guillotine press, you might be doing a bench press, you might be doing a Smith machine bench press. There's different exercises. I'm talking about a barbell bench press, not a guillotine press. I'm not talking about different kinds of press. I'm saying there's one way to do a bench press, right? Shoulders back, leg drive, tighten your core, bring it down at an angle. Your arm grip should be about shoulder width, a little further, however it's comfortable for you. There's one way to do it. There's not 100 ways to do it. There's one way to do it. We're going to do it the same way over and over and over again. If you want to get good at bench press, do the exact same motion 1,000 times over the course of 3 to 5 years, and you will have larger pecs. It's that easy. It is not complicated. You get the motion down, and you're done. And you rinse and repeat it over and over and over again. It's not, okay, well, this time, I'm going to start off by figuring out where do I put my entry? I'm just going to kind of make it up. It's not, I'm going to do it this time based on this way. I'm not going to do it this time based on this way. No, there's one way to do it. You find a level that is important. It might not be a flat level of resistance. It might be a moving average. It might be trend catcher on Lux Algo, but you find your ceilings. Then you place your entry above that ceiling. Again, it might not be a level. It might be a moving average. In this case, I think they're levels. You put your entry above that. You put your stop loss right below it, and you put your exit right before the next one. So we found the next 3 ceilings. And so we're going to get 2 trades out of this. I'm actually going to make 3 because we also have a ceiling that's very obvious up here at 31.5. So those are our 4 ceilings above us. 4 ceilings, 3 trades. There's 1 less trade than there are ceilings. There's 4 ceilings above us. Long positions. We're going to be ready for Bitcoin to go all the way up to $31,500. Watch. You want to see how quickly we can set up these trade setups? Boom. Just like this. And I'll come back and finagle them a little bit, but this is exactly how we do it. Set up our target just below the next ceiling. Entry just above the ceiling before. Stop loss just below. Set up our long. I'm not even looking at the numbers here because I'm not trying to give you exact numbers. I want you to do this on your own. I want you to come up with the numbers on your own. I'm going to try and make them look good and nice just on first look in case they actually get hit. We'll see whether or not they're actually profitable. I'm going to zoom them out because these trades are going to be relevant for probably weeks. If we don't hit them today, they might still be relevant a month from now. Push them out. And there you go. It's that easy. And you know why we can just say, all right, long trade all the way up there? Because 1, we're not going to be in the market around the ceilings because how often does the market actually stop at the ceiling? Pretty often. And 2, we're going to use stop losses. First and foremost, we have stop losses in the trade setups themselves. They're very tight. This is a 0.16% stop loss, right? We're looking at a 6.32 risk to reward ratio, 7.55, 14.09 risk to reward ratio. Then we're going to use a stop loss of 0.1% or 10% of the target percentage profit. So on this one, it's 2.12%. So you might use a 0.21% trailing stop loss key. This is a 1.29% expected target. So you might use a 0.1% or a 1.3% trailing stop loss. Here it's 1.01, so it's basically going to be the same thing either way. And if the market did break into this, if we had this trade set up a day ago, you would have already made money on it. You want to see? This is a good way of doing the historical analysis to see whether it's a good trade or not. You would have used a 0.1% trailing stop loss. You would have triggered this twice. You entered in, you made 0.62, 0.1% trailing stop loss kicks in on that wick. This is a wick. Market didn't even move through here. This is a wick. You caught the top and you made money. You would have made 0.52. Over here, moved up 0.32, 0.1% trailing stop loss, you made 0.22. On these wicks, you caught the tops because you're using a good stop loss strategy. You still managed to make 0.4 to 0.5% profit. So, do we care whether the market's going to go up or down? Yeah. It's useful to know. It's kind of cool. Like, hey, I think the market's going to go up. It went up. Wow, I'm so cool, right? Everybody thinks I'm amazing. You know, you go say, I believe that Bitcoin is going to rally and it's going to go up. It's going to go up on this day. Wow. And then it happened. Oh my goodness. I'm going to go tell everybody, I'm so smart. I'm so smart. It happened. I said it's going to go up and it went up. Yeah, but but what happened when it went down? Do you have a plan for that? No, I got the prediction right, but I didn't have a plan if my prediction was wrong because your predictions are going to be wrong. In case you don't know that, let me just break this to you. In case you haven't had this broken to you yet, you're going to be wrong sometimes. And so you need to be ready for being wrong, be humble enough to prepare for when you're wrong. So let's do that. Let's prepare for if the market goes down. How are we going to do that? We're going to find our floors. We're going to do the exact same thing in reverse. Set up shorts. Our next floor, 29,531. We already know that. VRVP is going to show us that. Shows it to us right here. It's kind of the beginning. It's the beginning of this mountain right here. Next level, I'm going to call it right around 29,200. This is a level that is based on VRVP, but it's also based on a lot of trading over here. Very simply, we're just going to put some shorts here. We're going to use trailing stop losses. We're going to do fine. Zoom in on the hourly chart. If the market falls below, and we're not going to put a trade in the range that we're in right now. That's another principle to keep in mind. If we put a short trade right here, we start to fall through. Stop loss right above the floor. Entry right below the floor. Exit right above the floor below. Then we have another floor down here. This downtrending level of support in this case is pretty important. We're going to use that as our exit. Put a short trade right here. Put a stop loss right here. Exit right there. Use a trailing stop loss. Easy. Does it matter if our prediction about the market going up or down comes true? No. No. Because if it goes up and we predict it down, we've got a trade set up that will profit if we, watch it. And you've got to use some. I'm not saying this is brainless. You've got to use some intuition there. You've got to use some trading sense because there are ways that you can get stopped out 5 times in a row, and you don't want to do that. There is some degree of responsibility that you have to the trade. You can't just make the plan and let it run automatically. You need to have eyes on the trade. If you've got money in a position, you need to pay attention to that position. I'll talk about a basic principle of investment. If you have money somewhere, see it. You can't control what you can't see. Easy. Very simple. You want to be financially sovereign, you have to see your money. So if your money's in play because the trade's started, watch the trade. Don't let a trade go automatically and you not go. Maybe have an automatic trade setup, but if that automatic trade setup is going, you better be in your seat looking at that trade with your eyes ready to manipulate the trade yourself within 60 seconds, if not within 15 to 30. If you have an alert that comes up on your phone and say your money just went into an automatic trade, you better be able to drop whatever it is you're doing and open your phone right there and look at that trade, or open your computer and look at that trade, because that's responsibility over your money. Don't let your money go and mess itself up by not being able to pay attention to it. So if the market goes up or down, we have a plan. We have a plan and we have a hedge. We have a plan and we have a contingency plan. And so if the market goes up, we're able to make profit. Market goes down, we're able to make profit. So who cares? Not me. If we're talking about the next 5 years, predicting what the market's going to do is pretty important. And predicting where the levels are that are significant is important. Whether it goes up or down, it's fun. It's mostly for entertainment value on the trading side of things. For the long-term side of things, it is relevant. But on the shorter term, it's mostly just entertainment. And so I hope you guys see the point that I'm trying to make here. There is a way to make money in cryptocurrency, and you can do it very simply just like that. All right. Robbie G said, we are currently inside the brain of a genius. Man, you're like, does the guy know that you're in there? Just kidding. I appreciate that. I'm very flattered. I'm definitely not a genius. I did have, it's funny, I did have somebody, when I was in 5th grade, there was like 3 days left in class, and I was sitting there, I was watching a movie, and I got pulled out of class, and I went and I was given this test, and it was a really weird test. I've never been given a test like this before. It wasn't a written test. It was with like the school counselor. And I was given this test, and I found out later it was an IQ test. And it's the only official IQ test I've ever taken. But it was so interesting because there were like 2 answers that I knew. Like one of the questions, I will never forget this. One of the questions was, what is something that you wear? This is the only thing I remember about it because I was so frustrated myself because I knew the answer to this. I just couldn't think of it on the spot. What is something that you wear while you're cooking to stop food from getting on you? Apron. Duh. 5th grade Jeb was like, oh, it starts with an A. What is it? But there were a couple of questions I knew them and I just couldn't think of them. And I found out later, my dad told me about a year later, he's like, Jeb, that was an IQ test. We didn't tell you because we didn't want you to we wanted it to be genuine. And so that was pretty cool. So when I was in 5th grade, had an IQ test done on me because I guess they thought I was smart. And yeah, not a genius. Genius is 160 IQ. I won't tell you what it is because I think IQ is better used as a range, not as an exact number. My IQ is not 160, though. I'll tell you that. It's above 100, but it's not 160. Appreciate you for that, though, Robbie G. Big crash coming in September, October. Potentially. Potentially. The U.S. needs a pro-Bitcoin president. The president is the furthest thing from it. Yeah. Oh, man. All right. Got just a couple of minutes here before we wrap it out. 78% of you guys say you have not watched a FinSoft Friday episode yet. Guys, I beg you, just give it a chance. I think you are going to love these videos so much. I think you're going to love these videos so much because I've run another poll here, these two videos right here, and I'm going to keep making them every Friday. When I poll you guys, over 93% of you guys, about 95% of you guys say that you join crypto primarily to make a radical change in your finances. And I believe that if you genuinely study how to manage your wealth and invest it for the long run using basic principles, you will build wealth in the future, guaranteed, every time. Unless one of two things happen. An act of God happens and you have your house gets hit by a meteor and your home insurance company goes bankrupt on the same day, or you're called to give it all away. Excluding basically those two scenarios, which are rare, pretty rare. 1-2% of people it happens to. Very rare. In the United States anyway. I mean, it happens a lot more in other countries, but in the United States, or if you have some kind of major medical condition, you just have no ability to manage your finances anymore for some reason, then for the most part, 98, 97, 99% of you guys have the ability to build generational wealth and change your family tree, change your name, bring glory to God at the same time. And so if you've not watched those videos, I believe that those videos are the kinds of videos that are going to make the biggest impact on you of everything that I create on YouTube, of everything that I've ever created on YouTube. I have created over 2,400 videos on this channel over the course of the last nearly 6 years. The channel will be turning 6 here in just a couple of months. And I believe that those two videos and the videos in that series have the ability to have the biggest impact on you for your entire life. Because I'm teaching in those videos things that you need to start today. You need, not want, need. You need to start those things today. And if you do and you follow through with them over the course of decades, your entire life will be better for it. One of the principles we taught in the most recent video is compound interest. It's not just a matter of using compound interest on your money. It's also a matter of using compound interest on your life. The changes that you will see by going to the gym regularly, by cleaning up your kitchen, by making your bed, by getting up at the same time every day, by getting rid of anything that is controlling you, substances, drugs, whatever it may be, getting control of your life, your health, getting control of your money will have meteoric changes. Anybody's ever seen the first Star Wars movie? They're like, we've got to get this trajectory perfect for the jump into hyperspace, because if we're off by just 1/10 of a degree, we could jump into a black hole. That's kind of the point. You go 100 light years and you're off by 1/10 of a degree, you're a light year that way. You're out of the solar. You're in a different solar system. You are hundreds of billions of miles away from where you want to be. It's the same thing in your life. Compound interest is a factor that you need to use to your advantage. And that means making small incremental changes today in a sustainable way that you can do forever. I call them 40-year habits. What's something that you can do today and for the next 40 years will have a marked impact on your life, and you will see change. And I firmly believe that if you follow the principles that I teach in those videos, most of them are just biblical principles brought to life that I do not hear anybody talking about, you will be successful for it, and you will build wealth, and you will know how to manage your cryptocurrency portfolio, and you will know how to be able to make even more money in crypto than you ever have before. And by the way, that is one of the reasons why I launched financial coaching. If you guys don't know, we've decided to go ahead and launch financial coaching over here on Club DeFi. If you come down on Club DeFi, you can see our two packages right here. We have a 1-hour package and a 3-month package. That's for 6 sessions. And in those sessions, I'm already doing financial coaching with a couple of people, and I'm teaching them everything that they need to do to get their life in order. It's so amazing because a friend of mine, he's a real estate agent I'm working with, and he just texted me yesterday some of the things that he's doing. I gave him a bunch of to-dos after our meeting, like 6, 7, 8 to-dos. He's implementing them. He is already on the path, just from our first session, to save several $100s every single month because of one habit that he changed. That's only one part of like 7 or 8 to-dos I gave him in the first session. He's already managed to save himself. I don't know the exact number, he hasn't told me, but based on what he told me, the change he made, it will probably save him $100 to $300 every single month for one session. It might seem like a lot of money, $150 to $150 a session. But let me tell you something. If I can help you save $150 every single month for 10 years, you want to know how much money that is? You want to know? That's $18,000. So the question is not, can you afford to invest in something like financial coaching? The question is, can you afford not to get your financial life in order, because you're leaving so much growth in the future on the table? Let me just tell you something. You invest $1 in the stock market, 10% average return. You wait 32 years. You will have $16. So every time you spend $10 at Starbucks, and that's not something you had budgeted, it's not something that you planned for, you're sacrificing $160 of growth in 32 years. So about a double every 5 to 7 years in traditional markets. And so my question to you is, can you afford to continue living your life today in the financial state that it is? I find that most people are either in one of three positions. Either one, they know finance is a very important part of their life and they're on top of it and they're in charge of it. Number two, they know finance is a very important part of their life, but they're not on top of it and they don't know how to get on top of it. Or three, they don't know managing your finances well is an incredibly important part of their life and they're not doing anything about it. And so if you're in that category that you're doing it and you know it's important and you've got it down and you know all these principles and you're implementing them, then great. I would love for you to help teach us, right? Teach me. I'd love to learn from you. But if you're in one of those camps, you either don't know that managing your finances well is of paramount importance and you don't know what to do about it, or you do know that it's of paramount importance and you don't know what to do about it, I'm talking to you. And that was me for a very long time. Guys, I spent way too much money on things I shouldn't have. We don't spend a dime now that we don't know where it goes. Every dollar we spend, we know where it goes, and it goes there because we told it to. Right? Every single dollar that we spend is spent with intentionality and purpose. And because we were able to do that, we were able to live on thousands of dollars less every single month than we were before we embarked on this journey of financial sovereignty and being in control of our finances, to the point where we're like, man, I don't know how we're going to make it work with. But then now we say, look at this. We're able to live on thousands of dollars less. We're able to invest more, and we're able to set ourselves up so we will be 50 times more wealthy in 30 years than we would have been going on that same trajectory. So I would highly encourage you, check out financial coaching, or I really encourage you to watch those videos on YouTube. That's the free content. I want to give away a lot of this stuff for free. To do financial coaching, I want to be able to, if you're going to have financial coaching, there's got to be some kind of cost, because this is a business, right? We're trying to build financial sovereignty too. But let me just tell you something. If I'm going to take $1 of yours, if you're going to pay me $1, I want to help you turn that $1 that you gave to me into one of the best investments that you've ever made in your entire life. Because I have said from the very beginning, the best investment that you will ever make is an investment in yourself. I have said that for over half a decade on this channel. And so it's my dream to help you make that investment, because it's very difficult to make an investment in something that you don't understand. I want to help you invest in yourself because I believe in you. And I believe that if you're watching this video, you have what it takes inside of you to make a difference in your life. And you have the ability to not repeat the same mistakes that your parents made, that your grandparents made, that you have made. You have the ability to make a change today that will make a change tomorrow and will make the next 30 years of your life and your kids' kids' life different, because you ended generational curses. I know, I don't believe, I do believe, but I don't just think. I know that can be done. I know for a fact it can be done. I know there's not a shadow of a doubt that if you implement the right principles, you will be better for it. Sofa King said, you're telling people to invest in the stock market at this moment. Yeah, I think it's almost always a good time to invest in the stock market. And by the way, I think it's almost always a good time to invest in Bitcoin. Man. Sometimes it's hard for me to know that I shorten the stream down to 45 minutes. I got to get better at like calling it at 45 minutes because I just have so much to talk about. Robbie G said, definitely worth the time, y'all. You won't regret it. I think you're talking about those videos. I would love to. I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about. I think you're talking about those videos. RC said, we all choose our pain of discipline or pain of regret. Which one do you choose? B said, when is the last time Jeb was ready to be wrong, especially when it comes to morals? Was ready to be wrong. Not sure what you mean. Yeah, no, believe me. There are times I've made big mistakes, and I have to admit that. Not sure if that's what you mean. Anyway, the point here, and I'll just say this and I'll wrap it out. There are so many times, especially in my young adulthood, and I know I'm still a young adult. I'm turning 23 this month. But in my younger adulthood, that I made painful decisions that felt easy at the moment. And the reason that I made those decisions was because they were easy in the moment, but they were hard later. You know, the Bible says that discipline is unpleasant in the moment, but it yields a harvest of righteousness. Discipline is difficult in the moment, but it yields a harvest of righteousness. You can choose discipline today, either accepting that you're doing something wrong and being disciplined for that and choosing to do something different, or just having discipline. There's two meanings of that. Having discipline today and produce a harvest of righteousness in the future, or you can do the easy thing today and suffer in the future. People say it like this, and this is a great way of putting it. You can suffer today to the betterment of tomorrow, or you can have good today at the expense of tomorrow. I made a lot of decisions that were nice in the moment and messed me up later. Let me just give you an example. I'll say this. I spent over 10,000 hours in my childhood playing video games. I don't think that there's anything wrong with video games. I enjoy playing video games with some friends of ours. We have a gathering at our house every Saturday. We play Minecraft together. We have a server. It's a lot of fun, right? I enjoy that. I spend the majority of my time working because that's what we're called to do. 6 days of work, 1 day of rest. It's kind of the way it works. But I spent over 10,000 hours in my childhood playing video games, probably 15,000 hours of watching them on YouTube. All of that time that I could have been using for something to sharpen my brain. I'm not saying I didn't learn anything from there. It definitely helped me learn critical thinking, and I carried that into my adulthood. And there's a lot of times where I was sitting there and I should have been meal prepping for the sake of making sure I wasn't spending money eating out that I needed to be, and instead I was playing video games. You know, or that was my vice. I'm not saying video games are evil, and you should enjoy yourself. It's important. But I was being gluttonous about it. And so one day, about 2 years ago, a little bit before I met my wife, I went cold turkey, and I deleted my Steam account. I'm not saying you should do this. If you have a healthy relationship, that's fine. I went cold turkey. I said, this is damaging me. The time that I'm putting into this is time that I should be investing in myself, because one day I'm going to have a family. Little did I know, I'd meet my wife 2 or 3 months later. And I needed to be getting ready for that. So I went cold turkey and I deleted my Steam account. I'd had that account for over 10 years. I had games on there with over 1,000 hours. Unturned and Civilization 5. Both of those games had over 1,000 hours on them. And I deleted them. And I said, I am done with this. It was one of those come to Jesus moments where I hit rock bottom. I said, I am so tired of being controlled by something. I want to be the one in control so that I can surrender what I have in my creation to God. I want to do it His way. And if Christ were on earth, I think He would be doing something a little bit different than what I would be doing. So not that video games are evil, and I'm not against them. I still play video games every once in a while in a responsible way. But similar to how people that are addicted to alcohol or drugs, they just have to say, enough. And maybe in the future, maybe, you can have a drink every once in a while if you're responsible. Maybe. But I said, that's enough. And I didn't play a video game again for another year and a half. And still, I only do if I'm doing it for the sake of enjoying fellowship and time with my friends or my family. But I said, enough. I want to be the one in charge of my life. I don't want my life and the creation around me to control me. I want to teach you guys how to live that life because it's a much better life. It's a life that is difficult in the moment, but it yields a harvest of righteousness. It will yield a harvest of wealth. It will yield a harvest of a good name. And it will help you guys a whole lot. Jeb teaching has definitely rubbed off on me. I'm glad. Hopefully. A lot of influencers saying Bitcoin created by the NSA CIA due to recent news that CIA knows who Satoshi is. Any thoughts? I would be interested in looking into that. I haven't heard of that, but I will look into that. I kind of doubt that the CIA actually knows who Satoshi is. And the reason I say that is because the CIA, I would not be surprised if they took out whoever Satoshi is. If they knew, I don't think they'd be sharing that. I'll look into it, though. Robbie G said, well said, Jeb. Definitely how I'll raise my kids in the future. Thank you guys so much. And so I really just hope you will go and watch those videos. I really hope you will go and consider financial coaching. I want to help you guys. It's my dream to help. We have a core value I talked about in that video most recently, the marketplace service. I want to pour so much value out into the marketplace. It's going to come back. I'm not worried about money, guys. It's gonna happen. If I provide enough value to you guys, it will be worth it in the end for you and for us and for our company and for you guys, and it's going to benefit everybody. It's my dream to help you guys. If I'm going to charge you guys a certain amount of money, I want to know that I will be able to make you guys 3, 5, 10x that amount of money on the investment that you made in our teaching products. I'm very glad to say that I am confident that by sitting down with an hour for you, I can help you make thousands of dollars in savings because you are being a good steward of your money based on what I can teach you. I'm going to have to go ahead and wrap it out. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, stay tuned because there's more content coming out today. And while I am still trying to catch up because I missed yesterday, I am going to work very hard to make sure, unless something sickness-wise comes up, that we meet our content schedule today because we are working on having 3 Climate of Crypto videos out, a FinSoft Friday video out, and a Sunday video out. We're going to work very hard to get that up today. Do appreciate all of you for tuning in. I am going to wrap it out. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real